There is things happening in and around Arsenal that can change everything. I've got two things I want to speak about in this video because if it happens, I'm looking at it and thinking, oh my God, this could be an absolute game changer. And I want to get people's thoughts and opinions on it. Also, we had the Arsenal versus Newcastle friendly that has just finished. So again, I want to hear people's thoughts on it. Before I get into it though, if you could do me a quick favour and just hit like on this video. So I actually want to start with a very quick question before I get into what the headline suggests. And that is, when I was watching the game, I was actually watching it with my dad. And he said, do you think there is a world where David Raya could be replaced by Kepa as Arsenal's first choice keeper? Now, all of a sudden I thought no. But then when I start to think of it, I'm like, well, I also thought the same about Aaron Ramsdale. I was convinced he would never get changed and David Raya came in and replaced him. I again now think David Raya is no way he can be changed. But can Kepa wriggle his way into that number one position? I'm going to give you my thoughts on it, but before I do, I want to hear yours. So let me know in the comment section. So, Arsenal just beat Newcastle in a friendly. And some people would look at that and say so, but I think that's significant because you want to go into a season in winning ways. And Arsenal beating Newcastle in a friendly, you might be thinking, well, I don't care. It makes no difference to me, but I would rather be on the winning team. And some people might say, well, I don't care if we lose or win. And I'll be like, well, you don't care if you win or lose a game of football? No, not really. Are you a United fan? Yeah, why? How'd you know that? And I don't know, I just guessed. I mean, you want to win these type of games. And there's things that happened in the game that are definitely a talking point. I'm thinking of Max Dowman, but first of all, I want to start on the Calafiori injury that actually didn't look too great. Now, hopefully there's news that comes out very, very soon that puts our mind at rest, because you see a player like Calafiori go down, who this season will have a massive part to play, by the way. You see him go down and then he goes straight down the tunnel, and I'm just like, no, this cannot be happening already. If Calafiori gets injured, then we're going to be struggling, because it's this season I kind of see him more as a left back like most of us do, but he does play that centre back position very, very well. It's just unfortunate, or for in Arsenal fans' case, fortunate, that we've already got a great centre-back partnership and he's not going to get in the team over Gabriel. Now, if Gabriel gets an injury, like we are currently witnessing at Arsenal, it's brilliant to have a backup like Calafiori who can slot into that position and just does the role slightly different to anyone in that current Arsenal team. But ultimately, this season, in the large part, I see him playing a role or fighting to play a role in that left-back position. And if he plays like he did today, then I think he has a massive chance. Now, Lewis Skelly, like most of you guys watching, I absolutely love him. I think he's a brilliant player. Come through Hale End. There's nothing else that you could wish for in a left back, in a player coming through, a player with that tenacity, that aggression, that confidence at such a young age. And he is a brilliant player. I'm not slating him, by the way, but I just think today against Newcastle, he struggled. He done some good things. I think he gave away the ball very easily in possession at times, and we was caught out. And I don't know, he just didn't seem at his confident best. And the performance from Calafiori made me think, if you have a player like Lewis Skelly, maybe who isn't on top form, having a player like Calafiori as a backup is a brilliant option. So I want to hear what you guys are thinking. Next season, can you see a world where Calafiori overtakes Lewis Skelly to claim that left-back position? Since he's come over, he hasn't really stamped his authority on this Arsenal first team. And maybe that was Mikel Arteta's thinking anyway. But I think just the emergence of Lewis Skelly meant that he didn't have a part to play in terms of Arsenal first team. Just because Lewis Skelly was so good, I think the intention was for him to play that role. But after Lewis Skelly came up, he made himself undroppable. But could this be the season where Calafiori wins back that left-back position? In my eyes, it's still Lewis Skelly's until he loses it. But it's definitely an interesting discussion that I want to hear people's thoughts on. We won 3-2. There were some good goals on show, some good performances. I actually liked Havertz's performance, especially in that first half. Now, it's always a controversial topic when you try and give praise to Havertz or try and pinpoint some of the things he done well in a game, because he's such a divisive figure. He contrasts opinion within rival fan bases and especially in the Arsenal fan base. There's a lot of Arsenal fans that don't like Havertz, but that goal that he set up for Marino was a proper centre-forward setup. Like, the little flick back, like, I just really like, not just that, of course, Havertz done other things as well, but I just thought that was a very, very good performance from Havertz. Now, that doesn't mean I want him to start ahead of Gyökeres, by the way, but it was kind of like, don't forget that we do have a great backup option, and that's exactly what Kai Havertz will be next season or this season. He will be a great backup option to Victor Gyökeres, who has now been confirmed. We've seen him walk out onto the pitch wearing the number 14, and I do want to speak about Gyökeres in a little while, because there's something that I think is very interesting when it comes to Gyökeres after seeing that Arsenal performance. So yeah, we had the Calafiori injury. Yeah, I just hope it's not serious. And I'll just, like I said, I want to speak about this Raya versus Kepa scenario. Do I see Kepa eventually taking or having the chance to take the number 1 spot off of Raya? Again, I would say no, but it did make me think, because it's kind of like, you never know what decision Mikel Arteta's going to make. You think you know, but then all of a sudden he does the totally opposite, just like how he did with Ramsdale. Like, at the time, Ramsdale, in my opinion, and many other people's opinion, was one of the best keepers in the world. I remember at one point he was ranked at nearly £80 million worth of goalkeeper, but David Raya come in and Arteta pretended like he was going to be playing both of the keepers at the same time, and eventually Raya just won that position and Aaron Ramsdale was sent packing. Now, I don't think that's going to happen. I think David Raya is Arteta's guy, but there could be a world. I mean, there could be a chance where maybe Kepa's his guy as well, and he likes Kepa, and maybe there will be a bit more rotation because he has mentioned it in the past. But when, like I said, my dad said that to me, my automatic reaction was, nah, of course that's not going to happen. But then I thought, do you know what? I've said that before. So I just thought, yeah, do you know what? Maybe in a weird and wacky world, there will be a point in the season where Kepa starts to play a few Premier League games, because there was moments in that game where Raya didn't struggle, but he just showed some of the vulnerabilities that he has showed previously. Where he's like got the ball, takes a second too long, and there was one instance in particular where he allowed Gordon to shut him down, and he almost won the ball off him, and if he lost the ball in that scenario, it would have been a goal. Now, it is just a friendly. You would hope he don't carry these same kind of moments on into the Premier League, and again, I don't expect him to. But when someone mentioned that to me, I just thought, you know what, that's interesting. I'm going to bring that in to find out people's opinions on that, because it's, in Mikel Arteta's world, I guess you never know what could happen. Also wanted to speak about Max Dowman again. And look, this isn't me trying to heap pressure on him. Again, I have to reiterate, this is just me coming to the people that listen to this channel and saying, oh my God, I'm so excited about Max Dowman. He has potential to be absolutely anything he wants in the world. Now, people don't like talking about Max Dowman. They say, oh, you're putting unnecessary pressure on the kid. And look, this is me coming to a small but modest audience and saying, like, this guy will be absolutely unbelievable. The way he glides with the ball, like, it was just so funny to watch a 15-year-old kid, who will have school at some point in the next, couple of months, playing against Joe Linton, who I always rave and appreciate as one of the most tough and brutal centre mids in world football. I've constantly said on this channel, I really like Joe Linton. Now, he's nasty, horrible, but I kind of like that in a player. So to see that player against Max Dowman, and still Joe Linton couldn't get near him, he had to give him a bit of a kick. He conceded a foul because he just couldn't deal with the footwork of Max Dowman. Like, this guy is honestly performing at a level and with a confidence that you don't see all too often. Now, I do see similarities between him and Ethan Nwaneri. If you remember when Ethan Nwaneri first came into this team, the way he was kind of trying to push when he was on the edge of the box, he would try and wangle a chance for himself. And I saw Max Dowman doing that a few times today. And having the confidence to want to be the guy to take the shot, to want to be the guy to make the difference. I'm going to score a goal. Look, we need a goal in this moment. Yes, the box is congested. There's a lot of black and white shirts around, but I'll take the initiative. Pass me the ball and let me provide the outcome. And I like that in a 15-year-old. We saw it with Nwaneri when he was scoring a couple of goals last season. And I think Max Dowman has that same confidence in a player. And I really, really like that. And he won the penalty for the winning goal. Again, Joe Linton brought him down because he just couldn't get near him. Max Dowman nutmegs someone, comes into the box, and he knows the challenge is coming because the player has to challenge, or Max Dowman just whips it across the edge of the box and then anything can happen. So he just holds onto the ball. Joe Linton pushes him. Was it light? Yes, but it's definitely still a penalty. So for Max Dowman to be doing that at 15 years of age against a Newcastle team that Arsenal always struggle against. I can't remember the last time we played Newcastle and it was an easy performance. I always go into Newcastle games with a level of dread. Now, I didn't this one because it was a friendly, so it was just more excitement. But Arsenal, on the whole, I think, had a good showing against Newcastle. Now, early on, you see after 5 or 6 minutes, Elanga scores and you think, oh my God, you are joking. What is it with Arsenal against Newcastle? There was periods of the game where Newcastle was probably getting the better of Arsenal, and then we had them 2 quick goals, and yeah, that kind of just shifted the momentum maybe, and all in all, I'd say that was a good showing in pre-season. We got some big games coming up, a lot of rotation. If you look at that Arsenal team that finished the game, over half of the team were Helen kids, they were youngsters, so to go on and win a game 3-2, again, it's just a pre-season. People don't like to put a lot of stock into these pre-season games, but I prefer to win these type of games. I would like to go into the pre-season and play every game and go unbeaten. People always say, well, the pre-season isn't a deciding factor on how you go on to win the title, and I'm just like, yeah, but it helps. If you go into pre-season and lose every single game, you tell me that won't affect your campaign for the season. Of course it will. You want to go into the season on winning ways. You want to try different things. And Mikel Arteta has been experimenting with different passages of play, with different players in different positions. But we're still looking very, very good. We're in a good spot going into the season. We saw some good performances. I think he made the right subs at the right time. It was interesting that he subbed David Raya straight, like 1 minute after he conceded, and that kind of made the discussion even more interesting because he conceded a goal, and I was like, maybe Raya could have done better in that moment. He had the little mistake early on, and then Kepa comes on, and it's like, oh my God, this couldn't happen, could it? But again, I don't think it will, but it's just a talking point that I thought of. But I was looking at that game thinking, right, when we get Gyökeres, how does he fit into this team? If we was to go and get Eze, how does he fit into this team? And this was a game where we didn't carve too many opportunities for Havertz or whoever was the striker. So Gyökeres, when he comes into this team, he can't just expect every single game he's going to get 3, 4, 5 shots and he just has to score 2 of them. He's still going to have to work for his opportunities. Like I said, he does have an ability to play football that will gel with this team. He's not just a get your head down, sprint and hope for the best kind of player. And with Eze as well, I look at that left-hand side and I saw Trossard having some success against Newcastle's defence. And I just think Eze is Trossard, but plus. He is Trossard plus. He's got the pace. He's got the skills. He's got the flair. I think if Eze comes into this Arsenal team, he's probably the most dynamic player that Arsenal would have. People would say Saka. But I just think in terms of having that skill, that I don't know, just that something different. I would love to see Eze have that on the left-hand side. And can you imagine an attack of Eze, Gyökeres, Saka? I can tell you I'm ready for it, Arsenal fans, and I genuinely think it's going to happen. There's news coming out about this Eze deal. The rumours are intensifying. There's people like Fabrizio reporting on it, saying there is concrete interest from Arsenal. So we're just going to have to wait and see. Hopefully I'll have an update in tomorrow's video about Eze, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on everything you've heard in this video. What was your thoughts on Max Dowman? What's your thoughts on the Raya versus Kepa thing? Do you think that's a possibility, or do you think, you know, that's just a crazy idea? Let me know. Thanks so much to everyone for watching and listening. Before you go, if you could do me a quick favour, just hit like and subscribe, and I'll speak to you all in tomorrow's video. Gooners, have a good day.